Let me ask you something right off the bat. What would your love life and your social life look like if you simply showed up every day as your best, most intentional self? Would you attract better people? Would you finally stop settling for less and start choosing what genuinely fuels your soul? 2025 is not asking for a new you. It's asking for a more aligned you. A version of you that replaces old habits with new ones that match the future you're dreaming of. So let's dive into 7 powerful habits that will reshape the way you connect, attract, and thrive romantically and socially. Habit 1, lead with emotional generosity, not ego in every interaction. Whether it's a first date, a casual brunch, or a long overdue call with a friend, you have a choice to impress or to impact. And while ego is always trying to impress, emotional generosity is what actually creates impact. It's the difference between making someone think they were interesting and making them feel, I felt seen. People forget words, they forget outfits, but they never forget how you made them feel. That's the power of leading with heart over self-image. Emotional generosity means giving freely without keeping score. It's asking someone how their day really was, not just as a formality, but as a window into their world. It's being the person who goes the extra inch, the one who replies with depth, not default phrases. It's offering compliments without strategy, sharing appreciation without needing a return. In a world where attention is currency, giving it away without condition becomes a kind of superpower, because the rarest form of energy is undivided presence. Most people approach relationships, romantic or platonic, like a performance. They think, how am I being perceived? Instead of, how am I making this person feel safe, special, and heard? That mindset keeps you trapped in ego. But when you shift your focus outward, when you generously direct energy toward understanding and appreciating someone else, magic starts to happen. Emotional generosity builds chemistry faster than wit at charm ever could. Let's be real, generosity doesn't mean people-pleasing. It doesn't mean abandoning your boundaries or draining yourself to be liked. It means offering love, kindness, and genuine curiosity from a full cup. It's not about being nice. It's about being deeply available. Emotionally generous people are not naive. In fact, they're usually the most secure, because they know their value doesn't decrease when they give more than they get. They aren't afraid to go first in vulnerability, kindness, or appreciation, because they don't need the world to validate them before they show up fully. Think of someone you felt instantly drawn to. Odds are, it wasn't just because they were attractive or successful, it was because you felt like they saw you. That feeling doesn't come from ego. It comes from someone who was generous with their attention, their presence, and their warmth. It's intoxicating in the best way, and once you experience it, you can't help but want to give it back. In relationships, emotional generosity also shows up in moments of conflict. When your instinct is to defend or withdraw, generosity says, let me try to understand your pain before I prove my point. It's the willingness to see past your own perspective and lean into empathy, even when your pride feels bruised. It's hard, and it builds trust. You can't fake that kind of grace. It only comes from a place of real emotional strength. In 2025, leading with emotional generosity is not just a nicety. It's a relationship advantage. The most magnetic people are those who make you feel safe enough to drop your mask. The world is full of clever, witty, good-looking people, but emotional generosity, that's rare. And if you can lead with it, if you can give your presence without pretense, you become unforgettable. Habit 2, take up space authentically. We've all been taught, subtly or directly, to shrink in certain rooms, to soften our edges so we don't seem too much, to dim our shine so others won't feel uncomfortable. Over time, that becomes a habit, a deeply ingrained pattern of underexpressing, over-editing, and second-guessing. But here's the truth: the most magnetic people aren't the quietest or the loudest, they're the most authentic. But authenticity requires space. You can't be fully seen while hiding half of who you are. Taking up space isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about giving yourself full permission to be whole, even when that wholeness feels like too much for someone else. It's allowing yourself to tell the long version of the story. It's wearing the outfit that makes you feel powerful. It's not shrinking your ambitions or downplaying your dreams just because someone else might feel insecure around them. This isn't arrogance. This is ownership of your energy, your value. People often confuse humility with invisibility, but playing small doesn't serve anyone, not you, and not the people you're meant to connect with. In your love life especially, shrinking leads to relationships where you're tolerated, not celebrated. When you show up filtered and edited, people don't get to love the real you, just the version you think they want. And even if that safe version is accepted, you still lose, because deep down, you'll know it wasn't really you they were choosing. Authenticity is what allows real connection to take root. It says, this is me, And I'm not adjusting my volume to make you more comfortable. It's not about oversharing or dominating conversations. It's about presence. It's about allowing your full personality to take the mic, the goofy side, the deep thinker, the passionate dreamer, the emotional human. When you stop censoring yourself for social approval, you attract people who resonate with your truth, not your performance. Taking up space is also physical. It's how you enter a room. Are you trying to blend in? Or are you giving yourself permission to be felt? It's your posture, your eye contact, your smile, your energy. It's walking in like you belong, not because you're better than anyone, but because you finally believe you're not less than anyone either. That confidence is contagious. People gravitate toward those who move through the world like they've made peace with who they are. There's a massive difference between someone who seeks attention and someone who commands it. The first is needy, the second is grounded. You command attention when you're aligned, when your energy says, I'm not here to prove anything, I'm just being me. And ironically, that's when people pay the most attention, because the world is starved for realness. It's tired of polished personas and curated perfection. What we crave are people who are unapologetically human and unapologetically present. In your social life, this habit transforms everything. You stop overthinking your invites, your replies, your place in the group. You start getting to fit dynamics you've outgrown. You begin to realize you are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be fully experienced. And the right people, the ones who are emotionally available, self-aware, and capable of depth, will not only handle your fullness, they'll fall in love with it. Habit band 3, drop the cool mask and be emotionally available. Let's be honest, being emotionally unavailable has become trendy. There's this subtle pressure to act like we don't care too much, like we're always busy, unbothered, detached. It's this illusion of control, a way to protect our hearts from rejection or embarrassment. But the truth, that cool, detached mask might make you look in control, but it keeps you disconnected. Emotional availability isn't weakness, it's the new confidence. And it's one of the rarest currencies in relationships today. We wear the cool mask because we're afraid of being too much, too eager, or too vulnerable. But the irony is, the very thing we're afraid of showing, our interest, our care, our desire, is the only thing that makes true connection possible. Think about it. How can someone meet you where you are if you're busy hiding? If you pretend not to care, you attract people who match your mask, not your actual needs. And that leads to relationships filled with guessing, not honesty. Being emotionally available means showing up with your whole self, even when it feels risky. It's texting back when you want to, not waiting just to seem chill. It's expressing when you miss someone, when something bothers you, or when you feel joy, without filtering it to protect your pride. You stop performing and start relating. You stop trying to win love and start experiencing it. That shift changes everything, because now you're not just dating or socializing, you're connecting. A lot of people say they want love, but they're terrified of the vulnerability it demands. Love is a risk. Friendships with depth are a risk, but that risk is where all the meaning lies. The cool mask might protect your ego, but it also blocks intimacy. You can't be fully loved for who you are if you're only showing a version of yourself curated for approval. Emotional availability is about making peace with that risk and deciding connection is worth it. This habit also affects how you receive connection. When someone opens up to you, are you able to deflect, dismiss, joke it away, or try to fix it immediately? Being emotionally available means not only expressing your truth, but being safe for others to do the same. You become someone people trust because you don't punish vulnerability with discomfort. You lean into it, you honor it, and people remember that kind of energy. It's easy to confuse emotional availability with emotional intensity, but they're not the same. Emotional availability doesn't mean oversharing or trauma dumping. It's about honesty paired with responsibility. It's knowing what you feel, why you feel it, and having the courage to express it in a way that invites closeness instead of chaos. It's calm, clear, and consistent. And that's attractive in ways that surface level charm can never be. In your love life and social life, this habit is a game changer. You'll notice how much more peaceful connections become when no one's pretending. You'll find yourself wasting less time decoding mixed signals or playing guessing games. You stop chasing emotionally unavailable people because you're no longer resonating with avoidance. You're aligned with openness. And that alignment starts attracting people who are ready, willing. Habit, people of Soin Foy curate. Don't chase. There's a big difference between pursuit and chasing. Pursuit is intentional. It comes from a place of clarity and confidence, the belief that you're worthy of meaningful connection and you're willing to put in the effort to explore it. Chasing, on the other hand, is reactive. It's usually driven by fear, fear of being alone, fear of missing out, or fear that if you don't keep proving yourself, you'll lose the other person. Curating your love life and social circle means choosing, not begging. It means valuing your energy enough to be selective, not desperate. So many of us have been conditioned to chase validation. We grew up thinking if someone is hard to get, they must be more valuable. But that mindset leads to emotional burnout. It keeps you chasing emotionally unavailable people, trying to win over those who aren't even trying to understand you. When you shift into a curation mindset, you start asking new questions. Does this person make me feel safe? Do they show up consistently? Do they add peace or confusion to my life? That's not judgment. That's discernment. Curating means you stop being impressed by potential and start valuing patterns. It's easy to fall in love with someone's charm or charisma, but it takes maturity to see beyond the highlight reel and pay attention to how someone consistently treats you. Are they kind when they don't have to be? Are they emotionally available when things get tough? Are they willing to invest? Or are they just enjoying your investment? These are the questions a curator asks, and they don't flinch from the answers. One of the most transformative habits you can build in 2025 is learning to pause before you pursue. So many people get caught in dynamics they never truly chose. They just got swept up in chemistry, loneliness, or the illusion of compatibility. Curation requires slowing down enough to evaluate, is this aligned with the love and connection I say I want? You stop chasing temporary excitement and start choosing long-term emotional health. Curating also means setting energetic standards, not rigid expectations, but boundaries that reflect your self-respect. If someone is inconsistent, distant, or disrespectful, you don't beg for their attention, you withdraw yours. You don't explain your worth to someone committed to misunderstanding it. That's not rudeness. That's self-protection. That's energy hygiene. And it's what allows space for people who do know how to meet you where you are. This habit applies just as much to your social life. You don't need 20 people who half show up. You need a few who truly get you. Curating your friendships means investing more deeply in those who reciprocate and gracefully letting go of the ones who don't. It means choosing quality over quantity. It means surrounding yourself with people who are emotionally present, who root for your growth, who celebrate your wins without competition, and who show up on your hard days without being asked. When you curate, something powerful happens. You stop performing and start aligning. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to be chosen because you've remembered that your power is in choosing. You don't need to chase what's meant for you. You just need to be clear enough to recognize and brave enough to walk away from what's not. Habit 0.5a, master the pause before you react. There is a moment, often just a second or two, between stimulus and response. That moment is everything. It's where relationships are either strengthened or strained. Most of us miss it. We rush past that pause and go straight into reaction mode. We defend, attack, blame, withdraw, or over-explain. But when you build the habit of pausing before you react, you shift from emotional reactivity to emotional intelligence. And that small shift creates massive change in your love life and social life. In a world that rewards speed and instant replies, pausing can feel unnatural. We're taught that if we don't respond quickly, we'll lose ground. But in relationships, fast isn't always smart. The pause gives you time to breathe, process, and choose how you want to show up. Without the pause, your words are driven by adrenaline, ego, or fear. With the pause, your words come from clarity, intention, and alignment. It's the difference between escalation and resolution. Let's say someone says something that hurts you. Your instinct might be to snap back, go silent, or interpret it as rejection. But if you pause just for a moment, you give yourself space to ask what's actually happening here. Is this about me or is this about them? Am I responding to the moment or to a past wound being triggered? That reflection allows you to respond from a place of power, not pain. And that changes the entire trajectory of the conversation. Pausing isn't passive. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about respecting your emotions enough to respond wisely instead of impulsively. It's knowing that not every moment needs a reaction. Some just need acknowledgement. Some just need stillness. And some need time to cool down before truth can emerge. The pause allows your wiser self not to lead the conversation. That's emotional maturity in action. This habit becomes especially powerful during conflict. When tension rises, the fastest talker usually wins the argument, but loses the relationship. Instead of reacting to defend your ego, the pause lets you ask, what do I actually want right now? Connection? Resolution? Or just to be right? When your goal is love, not victory, you start responding in ways that deepen trust instead of break it. You realize that most conflicts don't require domination. They require emotional fluency. Even outside of conflict, the pause is where intention is born. Before you send that double text, before you make that sarcastic remark, before you go someone out of fear or send a passive-aggressive reply, that moment of stillness can redirect you toward alignment. You might still choose to speak your truth, but now you'll do it with calm and clarity, not chaos. And that difference is what earns respect, not just attention. Mastering the pause doesn't mean becoming emotionally detached. It means becoming emotionally precise. You don't numb your feelings, you honor them with mindfulness. You don't silence your truth, you deliver it with grace. In 2025, where most people are quick to cancel, criticize, or cut off, being someone who knows how to pause, reflect, and respond with emotional depth is not only rare, it's powerful. It makes you a safer space in your relationships and a more peaceful presence in your own life. Habit Fate 6A, create social energy. Don't wait for it. We often wait for connection like it's something that happens to us, like it's a random stroke of luck or an invitation we hope to receive. But here's the truth: connection is created, not stumbled upon. If you want a better love life, deeper friendships, or more meaningful conversations, you can't sit around waiting for someone to hand them to you. You have to initiate. You have to be the one who brings the energy you're hoping to receive. Most people assume that if others aren't reaching out, inviting them, or including them, it must mean they're not wanted. So they pull back even further, they isolate, they tell themselves stories about being overlooked or forgotten. But often those stories aren't true. People are busy, distracted, caught up in their own lives. What they're waiting for, without realizing it, is someone to break the ice, someone to say, let's do something. That someone can be you. Creating social energy doesn't mean being the entertainer or the loudest person in the group. It means being intentional. It's texting someone first instead of waiting to be chased. It's suggesting plans instead of passively hoping for an invite. It's making eye contact, asking a thoughtful question, remembering someone's name, or simply offering a warm, genuine vibe in the room. The smallest shift in energy can ripple out and change an entire social dynamic. When you become the source, you stop keeping score. You stop asking, why doesn't anyone reach out to me? And start asking, what kind of space am I creating for others to step into? You realize that waiting for connection often delays it. But when you lead with openness, curiosity, and warmth, you become a catalyst. And people remember the ones who make connection easy. They remember the ones who showed up with a full heart instead of a guarded wall. This habit also heals a deeper part of us, the part that feels powerless in social situations. When you're used to being the outsider, it's tempting to think you just don't fit. But creating social energy reminds you that you have influence. You can shape how people feel around you. You can decide whether a moment feels alive or forgettable. You can bring people together, not because you need them to like you, but because you like creating spaces where people feel good. Even in dating, this habit is game-changing. Instead of waiting for someone else to make the first move, you start conversations, you ask meaningful questions, you create moments. You don't sit back hoping they'll make the experience fun, you bring your own spark. That confidence is contagious, and the people who are emotionally ready will not only appreciate it, they'll rise to meet you there. They'll match your energy, your effort, and your desire to connect with intention. In friendships, this means checking in without a reason, sending the funny meme, creating traditions, being the one who organizes dinner or calls just to chat. These aren't grand gestures, they're small acts of leadership in connection. And the more you build this habit, the more magnetic your social life becomes. Not because you're chasing people, but because you're radiating the energy you want to receive. An energy like that, it draws people in without effort or performance. So here's the truth: you don't need a complete life overhaul to transform your love life and social circle in 2025. You just need to start showing up differently, not louder, but more you. Not the version shaped by fear, past rejection, or old habits, but the version that leads with generosity, owns their space, embraces vulnerability, chooses alignment over approval, responds with intention, and creates connection instead of waiting for it. The people who create magic in their relationships aren't lucky, they're intentional. They build habits that support love instead of sabotage it. They stop performing and start living. And most of all, they stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing themselves in every room they enter. Because when you show up as someone who knows their worth, you don't chase connection, you attract it. You don't beg to be seen, you radiate presence. And in that energy, the right people can't help but lean in. 2025 is not the year of being liked. It's the year of being aligned. And that starts with you.